I could never have predicted how a passing glance, like a spark in a crowded room, would lead me down the winding path of suspicion, confrontation, and ultimately, a moment of unexpected clarity. My name is Emily Parker, and at 38 years old, I felt deeply secure in my marriage to Michael, who is 40. We've been together since college, a long stretch of shared laughter, quiet support, and built-up routines. He's always been kind, dependable, and the kind of man you trust completely. That's why the moment I first felt something was off, I was rattled to my core. Started a few months ago. We were at a friend's dinner, celebrating my promotion at work. The restaurant hummed with chatter, glasses tinkled, and the night felt celebratory. I should have felt elated, but instead, a subtle shift in Michael's posture caught my attention. He was nearing the table where a woman I'd never met sat, her laugh ringing out in a way that caught his gaze like a magnet. I caught the side of his face, half smirk, half grin, a look I rarely saw outside flirting with me. And the woman returned it. They exchanged words. Just polite conversation, I told myself. Introductions murmured. I kept my smile practiced, but my stomach tightened. Something in the way he leaned in, a tiny intrusion into her world, felt electric, unfamiliar. She was blonde with loose waves, green eyes bright, wearing a fitted red dress. She laughed again, and as Michael's eyes danced with delight, I realized I didn't recognize that light for him. Not directed at me anyway. Later when we drove home, I tried to bring it up lightly. "Hey, who was that? She seems nice." He said nothing. I laughed it off, masking my worry. So I let it go. But it prickled at me, lingering in the cool of the bedroom, in the hush of the early morning kitchen when he kissed me goodbye. The tension simmered, and I didn't know how to cool it. A week after that dinner, I found myself scrolling through my phone late at night, unable to sleep. On Instagram, Michael had posted a photo of us from the dinner, honeymoon-level smiles, alongside a single-tagged comment, "Lovely evening with lovely people." Clicked through. The woman hadn't been tagged. I searched hashtags, hovered on mutual friends' pages. There she was. A few pics tagged in friends' stories, all with Michael shortly after their own sending. It was subtle, but there, two strangers connected in pixel footprints. I jolted up, searching deeper. Every few days a new post. Her at the office, him in a bar. I felt sick, a gut twist of jealousy and dread. I messaged one of the friends from dinner, a mutual pal, asking point blank, "Who's the blonde in the red dress?" She replied casually, "Oh, that's Julia. Worked with Mike a few years ago. They reconnected." Just shrugged emoji. I looked at Michael the next morning over coffee, pretending nothing was different. He stared back. Think he knew. Those days I went through our marriage in my mind. The weekend movie nights, his hand on the small of my back in the grocery store, the way he came home exhausted but always listened to my stories. But then there was this other side. This side where he pressed his body near another's laugh. I began to question everything. Had he always had a wandering eye? Was I naive? Was this a one-off accidental slippage? Or something deeper? Finally, I decided I needed to know. I messaged Julia on Instagram. It felt wrong, as if I were snooping where I shouldn't. I wrote her, "Hi Julia, Emily here, Michael's wife. Just wanted to say thanks for chatting with him the other night at the dinner. Hope all is well." I gave it a heart emoji, though my heart was breaking. Her reply came late that evening. "Hi Emily. Lovely to hear from you. Yes, it was great catching up with Mike. Long time no see. Please tell him hello next time you see him." Smiling face with smiling. The smiley felt taunting. I cleaned the dishes, staring at the stain on the countertop, imagining Julia's hand on the stem of her wine glass, Michael leaning in. I pictured it all like a movie behind my eyes. That night, in bed, I hovered between confrontation and denial. I could ask him directly, could accuse, could fall apart, or I could do something else. I could bring the situation out into the open, let visibility drain away whatever was hidden. I couldn't live with the spiral of secretive doubt and half-truth. Plan formed. "Tomorrow," I whispered in his ear the next morning before work. "I'd like to see her." He blinked at my words, coffee cup paused. See who? He asked. I said, Julia. I want to invite her over. Coffee or brunch? Usual. Tootsie. He looked at me, confused and wary. Eventually he exhaled. If you want to. I nodded gently. He didn't seem enthusiastic but didn't resist. I messaged Julia. Would you like to come by Saturday morning? I thought we could do slow coffee and pancakes. I sat staring at my phone until she replied. Okay. Sure, what time? And just like that, the gauntlet had been thrown. I felt both terrified and fierce. Saturday arrived chilly and golden. I cleaned the house thoroughly. Vacuum, make pancakes, fresh fruit, candles. I picked out a dress. Soft blue knit, just enough to feel pretty but understated. Michael hovered, uncertain. Are you okay? Asked him. He nodded. Just tell me what you need. I squeezed his hand and told him. Just be yourself. When the doorbell rang, it was unexpected. Julia in sneakers and an oversized white sweater. Her hair was loose, tumbling over her shoulders. She looked normal, relaxed, almost timid. I opened the door and she stepped in, smiling uncertainly. Felt my pulse quicken. I welcomed her in. Hi. Coffee. She nodded. We moved toward the kitchen together, Michael behind me. I didn't know what to do or say first, but I remembered the point. Observation. Clarity. I made coffee and set up breakfast. We all sat at the oak table, facing each other. I poured the coffee, cups on saucers. Julia sniffed, smiled. Smells amazing. We started with small talk. The weather, weekend plans. She was polite, cordial, leaning back. Michael looked halfway between cautious guest and husband walking a tightrope. He'd held his words. I let them flow. As the pancakes arrived, I said, Julia, I'm really glad you came. I looked at her earnestly. I wanted to meet you. This connection between the two of you. I wanted to understand it. She paused mid-bite. Her eyes flicked to Michael, flicked to me. Connection, she said carefully. Yes, you and Michael. Over the last months you've started messaging. Talking. Catching up. Waited. She swallowed. I wasn't. I didn't think it was anything more than friendly. The words hung. Her face was a mixture of sincerity and remorse. We were old friends that worked together. He reached out last spring. He said he'd been thinking of reconnecting. She cleared throat. That's it. I didn't think about him as anything beyond that. I looked to Michael, reading him. He didn't contradict her. He sat quietly. Julia continued. I didn't flirt with him. I'm sorry if it came across that way. I like him obviously. But not like that. She touched the table. I wouldn't come here if I'd meant him harm. I can see how this would look. But Emily, I swear. I respect you guys. I didn't. No lines were crossed. I thought of her voice, quiet, sincere. I thought of Michael. And the evening at the restaurant. The way he'd gazed. And I thought of our love. Solid, worn in, but never quite armed for this storm. It wasn't closure. It wasn't truth. It was something but unclear what. Waited.